They're the most unconvincing couple in the galaxy. One was assimilated as a child into the Borg Collective. The other is a disgraced Starfleet officer and a deadbeat mom who is also, wait for it, a drug addict living in a trailer in the desert by Vasquez Rocks. Hey, didn't Kirk fight the Gorn here? You know, cause remember the Gorn? Watch as Raffi and Seven try to get along.
Give me the tricorder.
Nag at climate change.
It's beginning.
Commit homicide. Ew. Steal a police car. And then see Raffi bring Seven coffee and Seven will ignore her.
You haven't touched your coffee. You never don't touch your coffee.
He let us up there on our first date.
Then they'll remind you that in 2024, interracial gay marriage is still a thing.
We just got engaged.
And when it's all over, see the least hot lesbian kiss in television history. Don't miss Jerry Ryan and Michelle Hurd in Karen and Karen. You know, don't think you're so special. I've seen hotter lesbians on television, and much hotter on Star Trek already. Now streaming on Paramount Plus. The legendary Xbox video game comes to life as Master Chief fights alongside a team of legendary, highly trained warriors to fight aliens. That sounds awfully familiar. See him protect a young child. Wait a minute. And then watch as he enrages fans by removing his helmet. Wait a second, we've seen this before, haven't we? Don't miss Pablo Schreiber in The Mando Halo Lorian. I know the old saying of there being nothing new under the sun, but at least try to make it seem original. And I know you guys didn't play the game before writing the series, but at least could you have asked somebody who had? This season on Star Trek Picard, the crew set off on their wacky adventures. Picard finds himself at home with his Romulan involuntary compelled workforce. Oh wait, that's slaves. Raffi and Seven go off on their mission to fix climate change by nagging it to death.
The future we saw starts right here.
Agnes gets to enjoy a little me time.
So I'm not exactly dating material.
And Picard and Q take a look at his trophy room. Ew! And the Spanish guy has a run-in with the Federales. Uh-oh, better not drop the soap there, buddy. Don't miss all the hijinks on Picard. You'll laugh yourself silly. At least until Strange New World premieres.
Glue. Glue comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. For centuries, it's had 1,000,001 uses. Unless you're an idiot who decides to glue his lips or other body parts together.
I glued my balls to my butthole again.
Whoa, that's a sticky situation.
Oh my god, what did I do?
And now, that'll have to be amputated. Now you have no lips or balls, and you'll have to drink through a straw or sit down to pee. Too bad. So remember, glue it, don't abuse it. This has been a public service announcement paid for by the committee to stop people from gluing their lips or other body parts together. Glue is not for use by actual gorillas or chimpanzees. And humans, don't put it in your f***ing hair.
Hey, wait a minute!
Hey kids, that wacky Giorgio is back, and she's bringing all of her titles with her.
Her Imperial Highness, Mother of the Fatherland, Overlord of Vulcan, Dominus of Kronos, Regina Andor.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Emperor Philippa Giorgio Augustus Iaponius Centaurus.
And this time she's head of a super secret agency.
Section 31?
That everyone already seems to know about. Not much of a secret now, is it? Don't miss Michelle Yeoh in Section 31, coming soon. We promise. This time we mean it. No, really, we mean it this time. We swear it's coming soon, okay?
Now it's windy. See, now I'm glad we didn't go out to the... We were going to do a park stream, but it's like, that's the close-up one. Not, we don't need me that close-up. We were going to do, like, maybe we should go for the park. No, not really. We'll just do it from here. Okay, I can't find the video capture. There. Yay, hello. Hello. Should I pull my hair back? I don't know. It feels like it's just loose and crazy. And, I gotta touch it up again. It seems like I just did it. It seems like I just did my hair 2 weeks ago. Hello, everyone. I'm gonna go away. Hello. Rob's here off camera too. They can hear and see me. Yay! Hooray! So fun. Everybody's watching the trial, probably. I guess Ellen Barkin just went up and she's like, yeah, Johnny Depp was constantly on like booze and pills and weed and all that stuff constantly the entire time. Like, if he doesn't win, I'm not going to be surprised. Let's just say my hat's in the people want to virtue signal to the point of it hurting no matter who they throw under the bus. And if there was one chance that a believe all women sort of thing, I don't know. But then again, I've never been a Johnny Depp fan. Have no idea what his appeal is other than he was supposed to be pretty or something. I don't know. He was always that weird I know him more from Nightmare on Elm Street. Here, throw that away. What are we talking about? We're talking about Star Trek. Now that we've had like 20 minutes of commercials here, what are you texting?
I don't know. People complain about She-Hulk.
About She-Hulk? Oh, why are people complaining about She-Hulk? It looks fine.
Someone's going off on Robert Meyer Burnett's thing about how it's so unfair. Everybody's complaining about, oh, we have one female-led series. I'm like...
Who's complaining? Complaining that it's got females in it, or that it doesn't have enough, or too many, or... That's the thing. Like, why are people complaining now? I'm just tired of hearing it.
You have all these characters, and you're complaining about one female-led series? No, we're complaining about the CGI looks like shit.
I didn't even think it looked that.
It didn't look that bad.
It all looks like that to me. All CGI looks like that to me. So I thought people are tired of me complaining about CGI, because all CGI looks bad. It's the current wreck that everyone's rubbernecking for. Yeah. For everything is. It's the outrage. Somebody told me today that like people still insist that I need to go to like Odyssey and BitChute and Rumble and all these places, and I still insist that why would I go to the very sites to make the same content that's suppressed here but they're like, oh, but the this and the this and the this, and it's like, yeah, but you know, judging by YouTube, what actually gets pushed to the top, I think they suppress moderate and century takes. I mean, because the only stuff I see are the super duper far right. And then what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen if I go over to BitChute or Odyssey or Rumble? I mean, I already have stuff on BitChute. You know, the 20 people who don't watch it here watch it there. So we get that. Is Rob getting his hair done as well? I don't know. Well, I need to do
Probably
mine.
Not. I mean, it didn't take last time.
Yeah. So, we got Strange New Worlds we're talking about today. Thanos is the best CGI. See, he looks so CGI.
He still look cartoonish. I mean,
he still looks so cartoony. But then again, that's everything.
A gigantic purple guy, you know, with a big chin. I mean, how can he not?
Well, that's all of it here. Is that good?
Well, like some things work in comics and some things don't work in movies.
Some things do, some things don't. Let me adjust it a little accordingly. There. Here we go. Strange New Worlds. So, we watched Strange New Worlds. There it is. There it is over there.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, this episode was probably
the most Star Trek.
The most Star Trek that we've gotten from any of this new Trek crap. Which, I mean, does that say a lot or not? So they're on this planet. They land on this planet of illuminated, Illorians, glowy augmenty people.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be checking up on augments. So they're hitting the augment shit heavy. And not only, well, we'll get to that when we get to that. So they're hitting the augment stuff early on this one.
Yeah, they are.
Super duper. Is it aluminum archives? No, not quite. So they're hitting the augment stuff on this planet where they want to see. So they have this planet of augmented people who augment themselves to adapt to the planets around them rather than terraforming or rather than all this crap. So I guess we find out that later towards the end or something. Everybody beams down to the planet and the landing party to be like, what happened to all the people? We just want to see what the colony is. So then something happens. A storm starts coming. Mm-hmm. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, there's a storm. I mean,
there's like a storm. People are looking around. They don't know what's happening. They like got to get out of there.
And they got to get out of there. So they beam up, and there's a problem with the transporter. They can't get the team every transport. They got to reroute additional power.
Yeah, which is fine.
Asian Mr. Kyle is, oh my god, I can't believe that worked.
And then we get a lot of like the new blind Andorian guy.
Yeah, who's actually a pretty good character.
Yeah, he's very sarcastic.
I like.
Yeah, he's like if Stamets were competent, or were more competent of a character. This guy's like sarcastic.
With an actual personality.
Yeah, with a little bit more of a personality.
Than just, I'm gay, I'm so gay, look at my gayness.
Well, this guy, I mean, who knows if he's gay or not? Who cares, really? But he's very sarcastic with a lot of stuff, and he's like, yeah, I know I'm the bestest thing ever. I know I'm amazing. I'm awesome. Mm-hmm. So they got to beam everybody out, except they can't beam Spock and Pike out for some reason.
Okay, then we get our obligatory 22 producers.
22 producers. And then, of course, now we get into the bridge. What happened at the bridge? I don't remember.
Well, they said they cannot beam.
Oh yeah, they're stuck on the surface. That part I missed.
Everybody just do your job.
Yeah, everybody do your job, and then stuff starts happening. This is the guy on the surface. Yeah, so we find out that everybody's a little funny. We were like, oh great, is this our Naked Now episode? We see even she's like attracted to light. Everybody turns into basically moths. It's all like moths to a flame. They're all like, we're so attracted to light no matter if it hurts us or not. That's why the guy threw himself in the thing. And what happened to the hair? What hair? What are you talking about? Her hair?
It's pinned back.
I don't know what you're talking about. Whose hair?
It's just a pony. It's just in a ponytail.
So, I have several of them in here as we speak. I don't know what she's talking about. What's she talking about? Oh, on sick bay. His hair. I don't know. What happened to your hair?
My hair?
Yeah.
It's just got longer.
I don't know. I'm like 10 minutes away from that whatever hair conversation we were having. I don't know. Now I'm distracted. I don't care.
Okay, well,
take over.
Okay, she's soaking up light. Okay, everybody starts wanting light.
Yeah, everybody's like just attracted to light, and she notices, oh, something screwy happening, but she's got like superpowers. Lo and behold, she starts getting all infected and stuff, but she basically can like glow and shake it off. So they do discuss how the transporter would have normally filtered out any of this stuff. However, they've got some sort of virus so this is also our coof analogy episode. This is a racism analogy episode. They're actually trying to do analogies. Here.
Yeah, and so they
find out that everyone's got like a massive vitamin D deficiency, and that's why they all are attracted to light. They basically turn into like they have the same effect in like instances. Oh, they need to take her blood because she appears to be immune. She knows why, but she's not telling yet because there's a big spoiler with her now. And I was just thinking, like halfway through this episode, I'm like, this is kind of the most Star Trek-y thing. What are they going to do to ruin it? Okay, so they kind of do a few things to.
Well, we're gonna find out what they do.
Well, they're just copying and pasting other Star Trek plot points from other characters, and if you saw Deep Space Nine, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But you didn't see Deep Space. And anybody who saw Deep Space Nine knows exactly where we're going with this.
Deep Space Nine.
Oh, but Deep Space Nine's so good though.
Oh yeah,
oh, it was the best one.
I didn't dislike it. I just
the best one.
Fell out of it.
Yeah, it was the best one. So. We find, yeah, they're saying any contaminants would have been filtered out. The blind engineer guy is on it. Here we find out that all the landing party members are getting sick. Everybody's pretty much getting sick.
La'an.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're the Illyrians. Illyrians is this new race. La'an. So we get a little bit of La'an's backstory where she's like, she's constantly because I'm related to Khan. You should have not known. Like that would have been so much better if nobody knew.
Here's an idea. Change your name.
You think somebody in their family line would have changed their name?
Yeah. Okay. We're not going to use name Noonien Singh anymore. We're going to go with.
You think people who are related to the World War II bad guys still go around with his name? Like no really like that's what's so crazy here. So she's got it too now.
Himmler back.
So she's got it now too. So even though she wasn't on the planet, our con chick now has the thing. So she wants to like suck up the sunlight and she tries to like jump into the warp core.
Everybody just go nude sunbathing. I mean, that's all you got to do.
That's not good enough. They want to physically expose themselves to as much light as possible, and everything. So we find out that her blood is like immune, but they can't synthesize anything with her blood unless something, I don't know, maybe if at the point of infection, yada, all these sciencey things.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
There's the
they do their quarantine. They confine everybody to their quarters, even though it's transmitting. They don't know how it's transmitting at this point.
Yes.
They actually do something a little more interesting than making it airborne, though. Because they're all attracted to light, they figure out pretty quickly that they're attracted to the sunlight. Also, there's this weird sort of beings on the planet.
Yeah.
This like the episode almost has you, and for like 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes, where they're like, well, this is kind of Star Trek-y. This is kind of an interesting premise. They've got a virus on the ship. They don't know how to contain it. They don't know how to solve it. You got Spock and Pike on. And then you remember, and they ruin it by having Spock and Pike there. And I'm going to say how this ruins it for everybody who's like, yes, but you're giving us all this praise. The fact that these are not, like, this isn't some new Vulcan. This isn't some new commander. This isn't some new Constitution class. Can't even talk anymore. This isn't some new ship or even even the future, right? These are stories that can work on any ship with any characters. The fact that we're still constantly going back to Spock and Uhura and all these same old characters is the worst thing they could do with this show, because I'm still constantly comparing it. I'm still going back and forth and constantly comparing it. I'm like, I still know where these characters are going to end up. I still know how connected to Discovery specifically these two are, because when I'm like, okay, well, I can almost get on board with the stuff on the ship. Like that stuff, I'm like, all right, I can kind of get wrapped up in the story. It's not really not a slog. I'm not there constantly rewriting in my head every single thing. There's a few of them I'm like, wait a minute. If she knew she was related, why didn't she change her name? If one, all this stuff. The issue I have with this, though, is that I look at these two characters and I'm reminded of how it connects to Discovery. They were literally on the Discovery for an entire season in probably one of the worst seasons and worst television series and worst written shows ever. Not to mention just sci-fi, but just written in general. Oh, Techie Manus, thank you so much. You can happily rewatch TNG, DS9, and Voyager as they repeat Star Trek episodes. A new Trek have no clue about science, even when Spock likes science. Thank you so much.
Doctor Who money.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I like science.
No one asked you, Spock. See, and that's still where it all comes down from, is that it's still related to the bad Star Trek.
Yep.
They're getting the sciencey things a lot better. They're understanding transporters and pattern buffers. They're understanding some of these things. This is the most Star Trek of any of the stuff that we've gotten, and it's just ruined by still being related to Discovery in that universe, in that timeline, all of this stuff. If they wanted to reboot all these characters and say, oh, and now here's our regular universe people, and made it look and act and feel great. But the fact that they've never ever admitted that this is a reboot, and they're still trying to kind of grift people with the, oh, but it's canon though. All right, so you tell me it's canon, but in a different universe, in a different dimension. They don't want to do that. That's what really, really hurts this more than anything, is the stink it is physically attached to by these two characters having a whole entire season on Discovery, being related to the Michael Burnham stuff, being so closely related to that. Because the best part of this show are the newer characters, even number one, because we knew literally nothing about her. However, they do kind of ruin her here with stealing another character's literal story arc, who did it a lot better. So we're going to get into that here. So where they're on the planet, they have these little glowy sort of beings that they're terrified of. Oh, it's the ghosts. It's ghosts. Sure, it's ghosts. Obviously, as Star Trek fans were sitting there going, oh, those are the Illyrians or Illuminatis or the Illuminums or whatever they're called. Those are the, what are they called? The Illyrians. Those are the Illyrians. Probably trying to either protect them or kill them. Because they have these augmented beings that they had to figure out what happened to the augments. And guess what? The augments are always related to the con stuff. It's always related to the eugenics stuff. It's always related to all of those things. So here's Uhura's roommates. I guess they're having a room with guys.
I guess so.
Why not?
Well, that's the 23rd century.
So they're mad at her. So we see an Uhura scene where she's trying to sleep. She's in her little bunk there, and all of her roommates are all crazy, getting addicted to the sunlight. Like, look, they're all burnt. They're trying to irradiate themselves practically. Then we see the engineer guy. He fiddles with stuff. He's like actually really, really competent in here. He goes into the sick bay and discovers, wait a minute, something's up here. Like, they should have, like, the pattern, the transporter should have filtered this out. It should have known. It should have done something. So he goes in and discovers that he pulls a panel and turns off the light. And then everything kind of goes back to normal. This guy's so sarcastic, though, but he's, like, really, really good. I think we're liking the new Andorian guy quite a bit. And here's where we find out, yeah, the doctor's probably infected, too. Because they're acting like they're addicted to sunlight. They're acting like they're going to go through withdrawals without it, or without light on the ship. So, here we go. We finally find Uhura and Una, number one. They figure out pretty much that the virus is traveling through light. Through the light.
It's transmitted through light.
Yeah. And Una figures it out because she's like, wait a minute, what's different about you? Why is it that it didn't? Maybe it's because you're asleep. Oh, because darkness. Because she needs to sleep in complete darkness. She closes the little hatch of her little bunk. She sleeps in complete and utter darkness here. And even though she's still lit, she's like, yep, that's it. It travels on light. It's a virus that doesn't travel through air. It travels through the light.
Doesn't travel through saliva. Doesn't travel through contact with your mucous membranes. It doesn't travel through,
because they find that the lady con chick, that the con chick, she's not affected at all. Or no, she is affected. That's right, she is affected. But she never went to the landing. She wasn't on the landing party, and she wasn't in contact with anybody. She was just sitting there minding her own business. So it just travels around on light. The thing they're attracted to is the cause of the virus. The light's the cause of it. Is it a virus? even like I think that was the thing. It's like, okay, it's just some random it's like all the right pieces of Star Trek, but then again, it's like, why was the virus there? What did the virus serve? What was the purpose?
We don't know. We don't have any.
It almost seems like the virus was the B story, but they went with that as the main plot.
It's just a virus. This virus just is.
Yeah.
They didn't create a virus accidentally when they were trying to augment. Actually, no, didn't they? They did say that. They did say something about that, didn't they?
No, they were trying to augment themselves to have better immune systems to fight naturally. Because they weren't like trying to have superpowers. They were just trying to adapt to new environments. Yeah, so whatever it was on the planet, and they were trying to augment themselves to, yeah. So the nurse is like, if we turn off the lights, we'll fix it. So Una is not adhering to the blackout quarantine thing. How long are they blacking out the ship for? Wouldn't it get like completely cold and freezing very, very quickly?
Heat, but heat, you have to have light. You have to have light to generate heat.
But yeah, I thought this was gonna be a Naked Now remake too. I thought this would be closer to that, and I'm kind of glad it wasn't, because this was more interesting. Yeah, so the creatures started to appear as... So they've got these glowy, floaty things. So, you know, surprise, surprise, surprise. Those are the Illyrians, which any Star Trek fan would know at this point that, yeah, those glowy things, well, those probably are. They're either the Illyrians... And even Spock says, well, they're either the Illyrians or they're the people who killed the Illyrians or something. But yeah, so I think the Illyrians evolved into these light beings just because... And of course we get the obligatory, they're trying to save us from the storm. Because they had all these harsh environments there. We even saw Una, number 1. She was all glowy for about a minute. And I'm like, are they making her a mutant? Is she an augment? Is she... She is. She is.
Yeah, she is.
And then of course we get this big preachy, like the con chick. She's like, I was constantly teased and tormented because they said I was a monster. They said it was an augment.
Hit your ding. You have one tragic backstory.
Tragic backstory ding. Where's my tragic backstory ding? I don't even know. Tragic backstory. But then she already had another one though. Then she was taunted and she was like, oh, until we were captured by the Gorn, I didn't even I was bullied and tormented constantly for my whole entire life. Okay, so she has a double tragic backstory.
Okay. And then, like I said, change your name.
Then the Andorian guy passed out. Oh no, he was trying to. Where do we skip over that?
Beam a
he was trying to beam
of the planet's core.
He was trying to beam the planet's core to. Did we skip over that?
No, that's not till later.
That's not till later. Well, then she carries him in. It's like shortly after this.
Yeah, in the naked time.
There he is. He's trying to beam in a sample of the planet's core so that he can get more light.
Why not just turn the lights up in the transporter room?
This guy's so deadpan. He's like, yes, come in, you'll enjoy it. It'll be great. We're gonna burn ourselves alive. It's gonna be awesome. He's just so sarcastic. Yeah, he's trying to beam in a part of the planet's mantle. So she knows that he's crazy about now. She knows he's crazy about now, and then she can bring him in and carry him in. She stuns him. She can just carry him in slow motion because now I think they did this to point out for everybody who wasn't aware. Okay, she was super glowy for about a minute, and she fought off the virus and is the only person who's fighting off the virus. There's something up with Una. Can we guess what's up with Una? Can we guess what's up with Una? Can we guess? Anybody who saw Deep Space Nine is knowing right about now they stole Julian's augment backstory.
Of course they did. Because
prejudice and stories about that because she's trying to do the right thing. And so Una is one of these Illyrians from another colony, apparently, that we know nothing about her. So she's an alien, and that's why she has genetic, augmentation to be able to heal. Her immune system was designed to self-heal itself. Super duper super. She's geneticized. Yes, she's geneticized. Or whatever. She is an augment. Yeah. I didn't tell you earlier because I'm an augment. because I would be thrown out of Starfleet, and it would be a sad and repeated trope that we already covered. Because Julian was the first one, and they made special exceptions for him because he didn't ask for it, and his parents turned himself in. Yeah, you didn't get that far in Deep Space Nine.
I knew he was.
Spoiler.
I knew he was some kind of high functioning person.
No, he's an augment. He was an augment. His parents modified him, and I think what happened was his parents ended up like turning themselves in so he could stay in Starfleet as a compromise. Because I don't know if he was aware. Was Julian aware at first? Do we remember if Julian Bashir was aware that he was modified until later or not? So yes, this is all eugenics stuff. This is all augment stuff. This is all. I'm pulling my hair back off camera. Say something, Rob. You're just texting.
All right. Well, okay. So
you're not even paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I'm paying attention to you.
No, you're not.
Okay. Well, that's how compelling I find Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. But anyways, so all right. So what we have here is we have a variation of the Naked Time, the Naked Now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but like I said, it is a much weaker premise.
It's a lot weaker of a story.
If everybody, one thing they did address is everybody has a vitamin D deficiency, which is causing them to go insane.
Yeah.
Why not give them vitamin D supplements in the meantime?
Because it went away. It only happened when they were like experiencing their super duper attraction to flames and fire.
Everybody drink more milk. I'm mandating everybody to drink milk.
So she's an Illyrian.
Okay. So
now.
She's an Illyrian. And she has her own tragic backstory.
So I was augmented to have a better immune system and be a superwoman and be amazing. And
be the best as I are.
So they can't even use her DNA to fix everything.
Okay, so...
My body knew how to fight off the infection.
Of course it did. Or Dr. Mbenga.
Yeah, Dr. Mbenga. Of course, he has a tragic backstory, too.
Yes. Everybody has a tragic backstory!
In case there be what other lawn. Oh yeah. So what was gonna happen now? It's wind's kicking out.
Dr. Mbenga is gonna go nutso, and he's got his own tragic backstory.
Well, we're not there yet. We're at the point where
but they're hinting at something here.
For some reason, so didn't she bring the con girl, the La'an? Didn't she bring her down to sickbay?
She's trying to create a warp core breach to get more light. Yeah,
she's trying to create a warp core breach. Starfleet is right about a lot of things. Blah.
You know what?
So Lady Khan ends up fighting her way out of sickbay. So she's not completely sedated. She didn't get knocked out.
No.
Even though she's infected, she wants to breach the warp core to get more light.
Why not override it from wherever? Computer, override.
Yeah, she can override it anyway. We'll be flooded with light. So the warp core is now, like, this was the transporter in Discovery, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that was. So she's trying to breach the warp core. Come on, quit buffering, and then I'm skipping ahead because it's buffering.
Alright, and these guys are still on. There's a running B plot.
Yeah, there's a running B plot. There probably could have been the A plot. There probably would have been the A plot and anything else. Because
I think it was an A plot.
Yeah.
And they had two separate scripts, and then they tried to bridge them together. That's my take on it. It seems like this was two separate episodes, and they said, well, this is, again, they're taking a hodgepodge of ideas and trying to work with it. So this is.
Well, I mean, it was better than anything in Discovery.
It's not saying a lot.
Yeah, and Scott. Might as well call him Scott. Spock now says that.
Snot. I'm snot.
So he finally realizes that those glowy lighty people are the colonists who just evolved or something. And they left a record that they wanted to renounce their genetic things they were trying to unmodify themselves, and that's what ended up killing them. Because they were trying to join the Federation.
Yeah. But trying to undo their genetic modification inadvertently killed them all.
Yeah. So they died trying to join the Federation. Had they not tried to reverse their augmentation... They may not have all died, so...
Okay, and then she synthesizes the cure because she's the bestest ever.
Yeah, she gets the cure done because she... So they both got irradiated. Her and La'an got irradiated.
La'an.
Nurse Chapel comes in. Fake Nurse Chapel's like, yeah, and I fixed everything because I'm so amazing. Chimeric antibodies. That's
what is that? Is that?
I don't know. Because she got cured by proximity, by standing next to her. See, this is where a lot of it like lost me. And then it's like, yeah, we're still in Kurtzman Goldsman bad new track. It's like it almost. This is what we're talking about, where like it almost, and then it's like, but then chimeric antibodies.
Chimeric antibodies.
Because you were next to her, she got them from you, so she got a contact high cure from standing next to you by proxy. What the crap? I mean, I can do that in like video games. Depending, because I'll have like, oh, my character can heal my adjacent party members. Great. Awesome.
Chimeric.
That's why I like Rabbit Peach on Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, because she can do that.
Chimeric, relating or to denoting an organism containing a mixture of genetically different tissues formed by
hybrids.
Process.
Yeah, chimera are hybrids.
Such as fusion of early embryos, grafting, and mutation.
Yeah, so that literally wouldn't even make sense for explanation.
But by standing next to her, she developed chimeric antibodies.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. That wouldn't happen, but apparently it does in this episode.
All right, fine, we'll go with it.
They hand wave it away. Magic cure, sure. Thing is, though, Dr. Mbenga is actually the one who's responsible for a lot of this, because he wouldn't let them update the transporter back at Space Dock, as if we needed one more thing to realize that...
You mean it was a black man's fault?
Yeah, oh, you can't have that. We'll get to that in a second. They don't quite wrap that part up yet. Here's where we talk about how Lady Khan is mad because she was taunted and teased her whole life because of her last name, because of her ancestor. And she's mad at somebody because she finds out, wait a minute, you're that thing that I was shamed for being my whole life, or being related to.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. So racism's bad, and being mad at people who are augments are bad, which we already learned because Dr. Bashir, we already learned all this stuff.
Trauma block, dude. Trauma block. And this is the big emotional like, quote, payoff, quote unquote.
I wish that they understood their political message here.
What is the message?
Exactly. So I thought we were supposed to, because in the last episode, or in the first episode of this, remember when they brought in all the footage of the little old ladies wandering through the Capitol that day and all that stuff? Remember when the cops let them in, and then they brought in when the people overthrew Seattle and Portland and all that, but they were trying to blame like the WW3 being started by like those events? All right, so if the point is not to hate people who you're associated with by proximity, why bring in that stuff to go neener blame those people in episode 1 if they don't understand that the whole point of not being prejudiced is to not be prejudiced against people who you might vehemently disagree with as well politically, just because they might, I don't know, like the augments blow up the planet almost and start World War III.
Techie Mantis asks, are there any capable men in this one?
Well, once Kirk fires all the whammon, you'll get some. But, clearly something didn't work under Pike. Or else all these ladies would have stuck around. I don't know. Yeah, so you're not supposed to be mad at people who almost did bad things, right?
Yeah, if somebody commits a genocide, yeah. I mean, why would you hold that against them?
I don't know. I mean, sure. Is that the message we're supposed to have? Because I honestly don't know anymore. I don't know who I'm supposed to hate, who I'm supposed to be associated with, because I got on the one hand, this kind of goes back to I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, go to BitChute, go to Odyssey, go to Rumble. For years now they've been saying that, and I constantly say, well, considering the fact that my content isn't that side of the aisle anyway.
Well.
Anyway.
Well, anyway.
I know.
Anywho.
like I said, I don't even know who I'm supposed to hate or who I'm supposed to be associated with anymore. Up is down, left is right, right is wrong, up is left.
Like I said, I think this really sums up pretty much that. This episode is kind of confusing.
Yeah, instead of terraforming planets, we modified ourselves.
Okay, this is.
There's nothing wrong with modifying yourself, they say. Is it though? Is it giving yourself an unfair? Could this be your tea allegory?
Yeah, I'm about to say that, the tea allegory. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, I don't know. Is this one of those where there's nothing wrong to modify yourself? What if it gives you an unfair advantage though over other people who don't have
just
that?
as long as you don't want to go, just as long as you don't want to compete in swimming.
I know. It's like yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm great. I'm the best lady swimmer.
Well, I mean, they did that because women were genetically different than men. You know, that's why there were women's categories in the first place. Because women were genetically different.
Men have an unfair advantage.
Yeah. And just changing your pronouns doesn't change your DNA.
No, I shouldn't say unfair advantage. Men have a natural advantage. And it would be unfair for women to compete against men in those types of
In some issues. Well, you're not allowed to have that opinion, though. This is the thing. I mean, should augmented people with superior abilities be allowed? Like this was the whole thing anyway. I don't know. I think I might be reading a little bit too much into it, maybe.
One day, I like this one, Bruce Burchett. One day someone's going to be asked their backstory and they're going to say, oh, I grew up in a great home with a great family and they all supported me. And the rest of the crew is just going to freeze.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because this current trend of everybody having something or being a victim.
Oh my God.
Everybody has something that you've got to be understanding about or sensitive to or tiptoe around. And we're going to get to that too with Dr. Rebecca. So she's got that backstory. Una now is dealing with the racism of the Federation because they don't like augments. Which, all right. You know, here's kind of a Starfleet moment, though. She says, hey, I'm an augment. I need to resign. I quit because I really want to be in Starfleet, but I've been lying to everybody. Yeah. And I can't do it anymore. And Pike's I don't care.
This is a good Star Trek moment.
This is a Star Trek. This is what happened in Deep Space Nine. See, it's a good Star Trek moment because we've already seen it in Deep Space Nine with Dr. Bashir.
I like this moment where he says, you know what? You know, you did good today.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? I don't care.
You let me deal with it.
It's like, yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, we're all about being more progressive than that and seeking out new life. Well, he doesn't really say that.
We're all about being better.
Yeah, he's like, no, you don't get to resign. Who cares?
Who cares? I'll deal with it.
He's like, who cares? I'm only going to be alive for 10 more years and I'm going to have that little beep bop boop chair. Who cares? Here, take your badge back, bitch. Go. Get out of here.
Did you see Futurama when it was Fry in the chair?
Yeah.
And he goes, boop, boop, boop. And then he gets out. Okay, your turn, buddy.
Let me worry about Starfleet. That's a very Star Trek sort of thing. However, we've already seen it in Star Trek. And like, if they're going to keep retreading and giving us the exact same storylines, I mean, are there only so many stories that we can tell? Are there only so many ways they can deal with these allegories?
There's that old saying, there's only 7 stories really ever. But I mean,
I mean, how specific that we're dealing with exactly the same. Oh, she's augmented, and we have to deal with a captain who says, you know what? Instead of being an istophobe, I'm going to say to heck with Starfleet and allow you because service and blah blah blah. Right? Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember how they handled that in Deep Space Nine? I wonder. Maybe you look that up?
Well,
how they handled that in Deep Space Nine, because I remember it was a pretty big story arc with Julian. I want to say his parents ended up volunteering to go to prison.
Let me see.
So that he could stay in Starfleet. I want to say that because his parents ended up taking the blame because they were the ones who wanted it.
Bashir or Brashir?
Bashir.
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Augment storyline. Get that fixed. So yeah, then we have to fix the transporter.
No, not Ugandan.
So, we have the other tragic backstory story here. So we find out that the transporter would have in fact filtered all that out. Nobody would have been hurt. All of this would have been for naught, except for the incompetent selfishness of Dr. Mbenga, who apparently never let them update the system, because if you update the system, you lose the pattern buffer. And it turns out he's been storing something for a very long time in the pattern buffer. And he guesses in chat what he's storing for anybody who didn't see the episode yet. And he guesses. Has Terrence been a stint in the pen to exchange for Julian being allowed to continue being a doctor? Yeah, I thought that's what happened.
Well,
I figured that's what. So.
Yeah, game started a series of treatments. Hold on. Series of treatments. These treatments known as accelerated critical neural pathways formation. Yeah.
Well, they modified him when he was a kid because he was slow. Yeah, because he was slow, and then he turned out because he was like kind of dumb and slow.
She was returned to Earth and moved to a different city where Julian enrolled in a new school using falsified records his parents obtained somewhere. Instead of being the slowest learner in his class, Bashir was a star pupil. Okay.
Yeah, he went from being the dumbest to the smartest. So they did that to him after the fact. They augmented him. And I can see that's gonna be like a huge thing once we get the modifications. Like, I don't like that future because I don't think I'd want to sign up for a bunch of modifications to fix or change, because then you're gonna be constantly needing to be attached to the internet or servers or whatever. You're gonna have to go in for tune-ups and maintenance and stuff.
Get your gender fluid changed every 3,000 miles.
Get your gender fluid changed every 3,000 miles. So yeah, Dr. Mbenga, they find out that Dr. Mbenga is hiding something, and that he's got a kid, he's got a daughter that has some rare disease that he can't fix. That she only had 2 weeks to live or something, or 2 years to live, something.
So it's something like 12 weeks.
12 weeks to live. Okay, 12 weeks to live. So he decides he's going to stick her in the pattern buffer instead of stasis or something. And he just has to rematerialize her every now and then. So there's a whole bunch of power that goes there. Now, the Andorian guy found that out early on in the episode. Then he got infected. So I kind of like the Andorian in this one a lot more than a lot of these other new characters. So Dr. Mbenga's whole thing is, I'm the doctor of the flagship of a Starfleet, flagship of Starfleet. I'm the chief medical officer, and I can't save my own kid's life. All right, we've had this story too. We've had this story how many times in Star Trek?
Quite a few.
We've had this story too, a million times over. I've seen this countless times where, the physician can't fix their... All right, we've seen this story. So he says, are you going to turn me in? What's going to happen? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to set you up a specific power source so that we can keep her alive. Because, there's no reason to kill one person at all in this when we have the option, but also stop endangering the crapping ship. She's not more valuable than the rest of us. So here's the Star Trek compromise, and we're going to update the system. We're just going to move your daughter over here to an isolated thing, power supply, so that we don't... we're going to put her on her own server so that she doesn't, interfere with the rest of us.
Okay, here's the Bashir was nearly expelled from Starfleet service upon this revelation due to regulations barring genetically augmented personnel from serving in their ranks, citing the danger for every Julian Bashir that can be created. There's a Khan Singh waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
However, a special exception was eventually made, provided Bashir's father accept incarceration for violation of the eugenics laws.
That's true.
Which he did.
That's true.
Yeah.
So they do give a very, very Star Trek thing, because they're not going to have him terminate his kid's life. They're not going to say, well, turn it off. They would never do that. Nobody would do that in Star Trek, except maybe Michael Crapping Burnham or something. Yeah. So, at least I don't think so.
Janeway would be first. We'll find a way.
I just think it's do we really need this as the reason? Do you really need to make him another tragic backstory, another... Yeah, I mean, another one. Does everybody can nobody on the ship just be good and competent?
Okay. Okay, so we have a score. Let's keep score. We have Uhura has a tragic backstory
for no reason.
La'an
has two now.
Another ding.
Two of them, so she's got a double.
Okay.
Now Una has a tragic backstory.
Dr. Mbenga has a tragic backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Does Spock have a tragic backstory?
Michael Burnham.
Yeah,
Michael Burnham. Now he does.
Pike has a tragic 4 story. Yeah.
Pike has a tragic 4 story in the past, in the future past.
In the future past.
In the past of the future.
I guarantee you who you call it's going to have a tragic backstory.
The they themsman.
The they themsman, yeah.
No, she might actually be the best of the. She might be like the. Nah, I had a great childhood. I had a great upbringing. Like I want to see that. She's like, no, I was great.
I guarantee you, Nurse Chapel is going to have a tragic.
Yeah,
backstory.
Nurse Chapel's going to have a tragic backstory probably.
We have what? Oh, so we got her. We got Pike. We got Spock. We have Uhura, and we have
Kirk does too. They didn't need it. They like stop it already. It's getting old.
and who else? Dr. Mega. That's 6 tragic backstories out of the main cast.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of like seriously. Would these people like be complete messes if they were going through all that shit all the time? Because like I'm just tired of it.
Does not Uhura have a tragic back? Yes.
Yeah, she's got one too now for some reason.
Yes, she does.
So, I mean, yeah, I can't endanger the crew for one life, but we can make sure we save her. That I liked. I like that she did that.
Well, that also goes back
that's such a Star Trek thing.
That
I
also
like
goes
that.
back to the story Relics from TNG.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like the choices they make, everything kind of makes sense, except for the whole, you see new Spock and new Pike, and then you're reminded of, and then there was that whole season we were on the crapping goddamn Discovery, and it was awful, and this is still, like, why couldn't they just make new characters? Because, like, the new characters...
we were
even the new characters, like, you gotta have them related to somebody, you know? We have Lady Khan, like, who's this one gonna be related to? Who's she gonna be related to now?
Some people think of the Constitution-class Enterprise as a flagship of Starfleet, yet others think of it as Starfleet's next generation heavy cruiser. Yeah, they said that they called it the flagship, so they retconned that.
Yeah, it's still.
So they really need to bring in the guy, that happy, plucky crew member with the golden past. Do you think Mr. Asian Kyle is gonna have?
Kyle's not gonna have any lines.
No, they're not gonna.
Maybe. What's her name? Oh God, what's her name? Our new Malloy.
The
they themsman.
The they themsman.
Yeah, maybe she'll just be like, nah, I had a great childhood.
Another woman with a bad haircut. Yep. Well, she's the they themsman. Oh, hello.
Yeah, and Rebecca Romaine, there's her glowy regeneration. So she's a Time Lord and can just regenerate and heal.
She's writhing around on the couch with her heaving bosoms. I like using the word heaving bosoms. Don't get to use it that often. Yeah, Lisa Roberts, another woman with a bad haircut.
Yeah, that's.
But she's supposed to have a coming out story, the they themsman.
Oh, she's gonna come out.
She's gonna come out. Why would you? If it's the 23rd century, why would you need
come
to
out as what? We can already tell.
I was just standing here. Tom Cruise like himself in the closet.
We can already tell by the haircut. Sorry to stereotype. Is that istophobic though to like just assume that a character like this, like you would ask what their pronouns are? Is that because like if you go up to a woman who might be pregnant or something and she's not, don't you feel like you've insulted somebody if you ask how far along are you and she's just fat? So if you ask somebody like what are your pronouns and they're just normal people, is that insulting to them? I wonder.
There are 5 current Star Trek shows, and everybody has a tragic backstory. Everybody on that Prodigy show, every single one of them has a tragic backstory. They were all prisoners. They're all prisoners ripped away from their parents when they were kids. So everybody, there's a 5 tragic backstories, or whatever it was. Ding, 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 ding.
And Mormon, do you want to get a creation for this account here? This Darren Stewart. You want to get a? Is that account made today?
Yeah,
if it was, then you know what to do.
Yeah, you know what to do, dude. Yeah, that's
no accounts that are created in less than a day or allowed.
There you go, the band hammer.
Yeah, thank you. That's not a real person.
Lower Decks. Anybody have a tragic backstory in Lower Decks?
Oh, they're in Lower Decks.
They're just idiots. Lower Decks. They're just idiots.
They are.
I don't even. Do you even count that as Star Trek?
I don't. I just count it as Trek and Morty.
Listen, the fact that it's animated doesn't preclude it from being Star Trek. The fact that it's so bad does.
Is it insulting to ask a guy to pull his pants up above his ass? No. No.
Yeah, Dennis Leary had a whole bit about that. Pull your pants.
Oh, everybody's had them. Because it's such a...
tragic backgrounds counts as drama. No, they think it counts as character. They think they're creating complex characters.
It wants to buffer. It just wants to buffer on me now. It's doing the... all right. So that's fine.
Riker.
We have some news, though, that I didn't get into here with how well this may or may not be doing. Turns out that they can't even crack the top 30 in Canada.
No.
According to the Numeris, which is a ratings in Canada sort of thing. Yeah. We've seen a lot of these before. I've definitely gone in, and so they're being beaten by Jeopardy. They're being beaten by Jeopardy and Survivor and all the NCISs and Big Brother Canadians.
which has been canceled.
It's like, yeah, so this is their total per what, 100,000? Mm-hmm. So for 100,000, let's keep going. They aren't even getting... They're not even getting 782,000. They're getting fewer than that.
Which makes me ask how many people are watching. Let me see, Star Trek.
If they can't even get 1 million people throughout Canada.
Oh, Sean Russell.
Sean Russell for an super chat. The tragedy of Lower Decks is that it still exists. Yes. Yes. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. I went to the Den of Geek one to grab an article here just so I had a thing. Do they like it? 3 episodes this week. See, it's not even like that bad of an episode. It's just I nitpick so many things because I am such... I don't know. I so want just to have it be good and perfect, and this still has like the same little. It still has the same little. Well, that's a dumb thing. It has a lot fewer of them though, so I will give it that. Excuse me. It has so many like. It's like, okay, I can see this happening in Star Trek. There's so many things that would have happened and have happened in Star Trek. The stuff that's good are always the rehashes of everything else.
Let me see if I can find Strange New Worlds ratings in Canada. Hold on.
On Numeris? You're going to have to go into Numeris.
Well, yeah. No, it's going to Twitter, and I don't want to go to Twitter.
Well, don't go to Twitter. Go into Numeris.
Numeris. TV.
That's the Canadian one. Because those are pretty easy because they usually show up on that, don't they?
Okay,
We've used them before.
Yeah, there we go. Let me see where we go. Stay connected, become a client, have a question. No.
Well, you're going to have a link to it.
Yeah.
So if somebody has a link in an article, then you might be able to get it that way. This is just a screen grab. So you might be able to specifically look up the ratings for May 2nd to May 8th.
Yeah, hold on. May 2nd to... Not May. Big fat fingers.
No, I just want a link. I just want a link to it. Fine. It doesn't want to tell me. It doesn't want to give me.
TVA. Ratings, TVA.
So I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. No. I do like Pike's jacket. Well, that's been the thing. It's like they're doing what they can just to... Yeah, I mean, yeah, the jacket's kind of cool. I'll give him that. It's not that bad. People have been tweeting, oh, I want the jacket, I want the jacket. The landing party got the jacket. So the landing party got the cool jacket. You need to establish who the characters are first. Well, the problem is that, like, they're Spock, and I don't care about fake Spock. I think that's my big problem with it. It's like, I get that they're establishing character. My problem is not with the characters so much. It's with the fact that we still have this. We still have like the it's like almost Star Trek, and then it's like, but this is such a stupid thing. Like, why didn't they just do X, Y, and Z, and why didn't that?
They yank you back.
And I'm so tired of every character being just like a sob story too.
Well, like I said, they don't know how to create actual characters. They don't know how. They think tragedy equals characterization. We think tragedy, like, no.
No, Wolverine's not interesting. That's a terrible example for me.
Wolverine,
I don't care about Wolverine at all.
They all want to do Wolverine. They all want to do Batman.
Oh God, fuck Batman. I'm so tired of Batman too. I won't even watch the new one. I'm so tired of it. Yeah. Wolverine's not a good example of this. I don't like.
What was the most we knew about Riker though before they revealed the stuff about his father?
Yeah, do we really need it like in episode 3? Do we really need every character to have a tragic backstory in the episode 3?
Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. Like, can't we just like get some time to get used to them?
I mean, they did a full 4 or 5 seasons before we really knew anything about Riker's family and his upbringing. You know, his mother died and he blamed his father. Okay, that wasn't...
Yeah, and that's another one. There's no suspense in this at all because we already know who's going to live and die. Like, we don't care about Pop. I think that's another thing, because every time they would cut back to Spock and Pike, that's where it lost me, because I know Pike's going to end up in the beep-bop chair and then on the planet with Vina. We already know where Spock's going to end up. Spock's going to turn into, you know... whatever he turns into Spock in the JJ thing. I don't remember. So, yeah, we already know where they're going to end up. And with, like, the new characters, I'm like, do we really need to rehash the same story arcs as other characters? That's what really gets me, because, all right, we're rehashing the augment stuff with Una now. Do we really need her to have it? Yeah. I mean, do we really need the Lady Khan chick to overcome her prejudices by being friends with an augment and like, oh, augments aren't so bad? It's like, yeah, but they kind of are though. They're still Khan.
What's a genocide between friends?
Yeah. What's a genocide here and there? It's just so crazy.
Bryce Burchette. I'm actually a woke lefty. Sorry, guys.
No, it's fine. Hey, you could be whatever as long as it's not preachy. We ban preachy righties here. So.
But I'm confused how disco handled it. By the 32nd century, they have had the ability to rewrite DNA over 4 millennia. Yeah, well...
Yeah. Confused by how disco handled it. That's another thing. Like, I mean, I would recommend... Like, this is one of the things with a lot of the trans issues, is that I don't want to speak on behalf of the trans community, because I'm certainly not. Yeah. I'm only the B in the alphabet. So for like people who are in the trans community, I know Jessie Gender's doing quite a bit of, you probably already watch her stuff. And like for the record, I'm not anti-trans. I'm not anti-LGBT. Like, I am. I'm the B in the alphabet, for crying out loud. But for a lot of this stuff, like, to complain about Star Trek on the internet, the new stuff, they label people as far right, this and this and this. The issue that I have with, like, the trans stuff in in Discovery, why would anybody feel oppressed to any point where they needed to, like, be so internally up in their shit about their pronouns and how they're referred to, and like you wouldn't even feel like any level of non-acceptance unless you went to some planet that didn't like it, unless you went to that, like that's kind of the thing with any of it. So for Adira or whatever, what was the character's name, to say my pronouns are they them,
my pronouns are they, them, and she stops the episode dead in its tracks to remind you.
Which is like, okay, well, why is this even an issue in the 23rd century?
It wouldn't be.
Because everybody, like, people marry aliens by then. Like for humans to, I don't think humans would be on this internalizing every little detail about one's sexuality in a
if you're getting your freak on with a Bajoran or a
and you can change your DNA if you need to, or whatever, you can change your genetics if you really want to be male or female.
Green or Orion chick. I mean, then a little thing like pronouns isn't going to bother you.
Yeah, no one in Trek should ever have to apologetically explain their pronouns. I don't like that's the thing. Like, I don't even think that people would be dropping them or using them, or it would be I think people by then would be so confident in who they are that they can walk down the street or down the corridor in the starship and be like, if you misgender me, I am not offended by that. If you know, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. It's like, you know, oh, I go by they, but who cares? I mean, if you want to use they, I'd prefer it, but if not, I'm not gonna. It's not an attack on me.
Why don't you call me Adira? I mean, just call me by my name.
Yeah, that's another thing in Star Trek, because like nobody would feel oppressed. Nobody would feel like they were not included for who they're attracted to, who they. Yeah, that's just so confusing to me with this modern day ideology of the very, very, very woke far left. I think is this having to point out and separate and segregate and classify how oppressed everybody is and treat people accordingly, which is kind of the opposite of the traditional liberal ideologies that I always kind of grew up with, which is like, hey, you know, if you want to be gay, who am I to stop you? Who am I to judge you? Who is anybody to judge anybody based on stuff that literally doesn't affect them? Like you know, same thing with people of different ethnic backgrounds.
Andrew Helms
same
says,
thing.
It's new Trick writers voicing their own hang-ups in the stories.
Yeah.
Actually, Michelle Paradise said she actually has a checklist of things that she wants in every episode. So she admits to checking boxes. So, I mean, hey, you know?
Yeah.
But the they-them thing is going to cause confusion.
Well, yeah, and that's really confusing to people who don't speak English natively, too. Or, like the gendered pronoun stuff, a lot of that's what's going on. Just take Spanish, for example. A lot of people who speak Spanish natively got really, really... Well, first off, the Latin with the X at the end that you can't even pronounce in Spanish. They don't like that one. Second, they have just gendered pronouns.
There is no X in like the Spanish alphabet or like any of the Romance languages.
Yeah.
There's no X. There's no X. There's no W. There's no, you know, there's no J.
It's
usually G.
So having languages that don't use that, or who use specific gendered pronouns, or for languages who don't understand that they is also plural. Like, they is something you say when you don't know, and they is also something when you're talking about a group of people. Like, oh yeah, them, those,
Plural.
they.
Plural.
Yeah, they're going over there. You know, they're going to the transporter room. Who? All
Hey.
5 of them.
Who? Them. Who are they? That's them.
All 5 of them. So it's confusing to people who don't speak English natively. And then you kind of get into the woke, you know, gymnastics, the mental gymnastics of, well, aren't you being racist then to people who don't speak English? So this is why I'm such a smart ass when it comes to the woke ideologies and the religious stuff. Like, yeah, don't worry, we ban super duper far right people here all the time too, because they get super preachy. It's just like, I you know, people can believe whatever they want to believe as long as they, if they want to ask. That's great, because I try and ask more. I try and understand. I'm also a smart ass, and I kind of expect a little bit better of humanity than still being focused on these emotionally. I hate to say, because that's going to put a negative connotation on it too. These emotional hang-ups that people have about their own identities, their own pronouns, their own stuff like that. Because I think people would just be more accepting. Like, people wouldn't be sitting around like, oh, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. People, I think, would just come to it naturally. They would, you know, they would just be, hey, I'm this. And people are like, all right, cool, whatever. And people just move on about their day. It's like when you see an alien couple, you know, or an interracial couple in the real world now. You know, it's like, oh, yeah, that's just, you know, my friends from, you know, the past 20 years or something. Or that's just people I'm related to. Or that's just my cousins or my, you know, that's such a normal, natural sort of everyday existence that I think a lot of the ideologues don't understand. I don't know. We're just going off into a completely different thing. Kevin Six says Jedzia Dax is a perfect example of trans culture, has both sexes.
But it doesn't count though, because they did it first on Discovery.
Yeah.
It's like that old joke. You ever watch? There's a movie, Night Shift. Michael Keaton was first movie, He says, yeah, he invented. Yeah, they got those washing wipes. Yeah, I invented those, but they already had them. You know, everybody on Discovery. Oh yeah, we invented trans algorithm, but they already had it. Yeah, we invented it. We're the first ones.
Oh yeah, and yeah, remember when Lincoln called Uhura I don't want to repeat the name, but yeah, she says, why would I be offended? That's another thing. Letting the stuff have power over you is so regressive, I think. This is kind of, I think this is where I'm getting with the tragic backstory stuff is kind of being a little tiresome, because if everybody has a tragic backstory that they never overcame, then how am I going to be convinced that these are advanced, progressive, civilized, better than us human beings? You know? Like, if they're all hung up on, being called names or being misgendered or being suppressed or, victimized.
See, the Orville has a tragic backstory. Ed Mercer has it. He's not really a tragic backstory, but he just... Yeah,
well, they just got divorced and he drank too much.
He drank. He kind of let himself go a bit, which people tend to do. It's a relatable thing. Like, yeah, it happens now. Why wouldn't that happen to someone 500 years from now? Mm-hmm. But to have, like, Malloy didn't have a tragic backstory. Lamar didn't have a tragic backstory. Yaffa didn't. Penny Johnson, Gerald didn't. And they're all fairly well-adjusted people. Mm-hmm. You'd think that in the 23rd century... there would be ways for them to cope, but there aren't. Oh yeah, something happened. I was in therapy, but I worked it out.
Yeah,
and that was the point of having a counselor on the Next Generation on the Enterprise.
Well, that was also different because they had kids and they had families.
Yeah, but they hey, you know what? This is a high stress job. Maybe we should have someone there to help with that. I understand being on a spaceship must be stressful, but there would be ways for it to cope, and like the psychological profiles of all these people would not make them fit for duty on a starship. Just wouldn't. Sorry.
No, they would never. They would, like Picard, especially with what they did to Picard. Oh, he would never be allowed on a starship being that broken.
Only white people use the term Latinx.
Yeah, usually.
LOL. I just called people what they asked to be called, but I know. People on the right make a big deal about pronouns as woke lefties.
Yeah, they're just right. And I've been trying not to point that out, but at the same time, YouTube's kind of got me in this where I always pull up the buzzwords and the ding, and it's like, oh, we gotta get the buzzword ding: intersectional feminism, cultural Marxism, the social communists, the progressive left, the
regressive.
They're winning or something. I don't know what other buzzwords do they say. All that stuff. So you got to do that, and I'm the person. I like to pull the screen out. Like I don't think a lot of this.
Yeah, you're right. 1MC626. None of them passed their Starfleet psychological exams. Yeah, remember as much as we knock Leslie Crusher. Remember, but they showed the psychological test.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you had to make a choice to save somebody.
Yeah.
And the part of that was like, listen, there's gonna be people you can't save.
Yeah. And how do you cope with somebody you can't save?
Yeah, that was part of it. These people, every single one of them, would freeze in that situation. Computer and simulation.
Yeah, computer and simulation. You're gonna get everybody killed. I mean, these people are way more competent than on the Discovery. I mean, you can tell the Discovery was just to ship a whole bunch of screw-ups back then. If Pike had the Enterprise and all this stuff, but.
Let's not even get to the lower decks. How BM would be in.
She's so disrespectful. I do what I want.
I do what I want.
I hate her.
Insubordination. Okay. I do what I want. Conduct unbecoming of a Starfleet officer. Drunken disorderly. Drunk on duty. Assaulting a fellow crew member.
So, with this episode, though, they're dealing with the allegories a little bit better. Like, they're kind of finally learning what an allegory sort of is, because you're like, oh, they're using people being prejudiced against the augments as a way to teach people not to be prejudiced about other things. Are they going to listen to their own preaching? That's the other thing that I see a lot with this modern day Star Trek is they don't understand their own like they're not self-aware. No, it's like when Frosk from G4 tweeted out a thing saying Hobbies got infiltrated by ideologue activist-y sort of people. Yeah, or no, with radicalized people it was. Yeah, your hobby was radicalized by yeah.
Oh,
Your hobby was taken over by radicalized people.
I am radicalized ideologues, so you're finally admitting that.
You're finally admitting it was. It's the activism that I'm finding is the problem here, because like allegorical storytelling of things that I already am in agreement with, like we already agree, you know, racism's bad, sexism's bad. It's no more okay to be like all men suck as it is to be you know, all women suck or all people of this ethnic. It's no more less offensive when people say that all white people suck than it is other. So I guess I might be a little bit more computerized brain wise. I don't know. I'm probably on the spectrum. This is why a lot of stuff I'm so specific and laser focused on. Yes, but literally this and that. And then I'm crazy too. So no, but all right. I guess I gotta give the rating on this one. Everything except for the Spock and Pike stuff was actually pretty darn decent.
It just kind of fell apart.
It just kind of like you start to realize, oh yes, but then there's no stakes. These guys are gonna survive. It's like you're catching up on a rerun of something that you already know the outcome of. They also touched on a lot of stories I already liked in the first place. So I don't know. Do I score down for that?
I don't know. This is a tough one to score.
This is a real tough one to score because I really liked a lot of it because I've seen it before in better Star Trek.
Yeah, there's parts of it that are good. There's parts of it you like. There's some things that are done well, but it's still wrapped in this whole thing where, you know, it's off. It's just off. It's just you know you're watching. It's like you know you're watching a cover band. It's like vegetarian lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah, people will tell you it's just as good, but you know what?
It's okay. I mean, you're still missing the meat though.
You're still missing the meat and the real regot cheese, and you know, and the sauce and everything.
No, I want
lasagna. I don't think it's as high as 7. I don't think it's as high as 7.
I might go with 7. Well, I gave the last one a 7. I might give this one a 7 as well, just because
it's a very Star Trek premise.
Yeah, it's very Star Trekky. They're really trying their best on this one.
We've seen the same.
They seem to have been taking notes and still listened. I don't know if I can really get on board with the fact that these are still characters that I already know in Star Trek for realsies being played by, like, I guess I have to treat it like it's a fan film again. I kind of have to treat it like Star Trek Continues. I kind of have to treat it like okay, I can just squint my eyes and know that, because like I know where everybody ends up anyway when I'm watching Star Trek Continues. This just seems like it's a little bit of a fan film that's filling in the gaps, but not nearly as competent as Star Trek Continues. But then again, I mean, the actors might be.
Is it Bryce Burkett, or is it Burchet, or is it
Star Trek had a show with the guys were black on one side and white on the other.
Yeah, let this be your last battlefield.
That was barely an allegory. Yeah, that was kind of barely an allegory.
Well, this though was done well.
Yeah, it was still done well, though. Star Trek Continues, I think, did a lot of the racism really well. There's an episode with John Delancey where they beam down to a planet, and the planet's all in black and white because of the light refraction and
the sun.
Yeah, all that stuff. And then they realize that, and then there's like border issues, and it is such a good, well done allegory for like border issues if you really want to dive into that sort of thing. But at the same time, like this just kind of feels like I'm watching a fan film where I gotta like kind of squint and kind of. I mean, they're doing less of the beating you over the head with the istophobia is bad sort of thing now, because they're setting up more with this.
I still think though that this is gonna fall off a cliff in a hurry. This is gonna, because they gave the critics.
Den of Geek gave it 5 out of 5. She likes it.
Who?
Whoever from Den of Geek, she liked it.
Lacey
Bauer. I can see why people like this. I mean, there's not a lot to really pick apart other than
I understand why people would like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But you know what? But like I said, it still has.
It's not that bad. It's really not that
It's
bad.
not that bad, but it still has its problems, and it can't seem to overcome them. Like I said, everybody doesn't need a tragic backstory. Okay, that is the biggest problem.
That's your biggest problem. For me, it's the good parts I've seen before.
Yeah.
The bad parts come from Discovery and being attached and so directly related. Because I'm still seeing season 2 of Discovery here with Pike and Spock.
Yeah. Like I said, we're still. And the bigger problem, like I said, is there's no stakes.
Yeah.
Because all the characters live, with a few exceptions.
And I don't like comparing Star Trek to TOS because we've had 40 years to learn what they did wrong in TOS.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say we need to start comparing it to TNG now because that's kind of the higher bar. And TOS we can just kind of forget. And that's another big problem with this is it's so stuck in going back to TOS. It is so stuck in going back to TOS, and I'm like. TOS is my least favorite of the original Star Treks.
TOS was the beginning, but TNG's where they really got Star Trek right.
And that was like, I was a teenager when that was ending. I was in elementary school when that came on. It was right at the peak. Star Trek 4 had just come out. And
Saturday nights, 7:00, I knew exactly where I was. I was going to be watching Star Trek Next Generation. And for all the people saying, it sucked the first season, I'm like, shut up, okay? There were still good episodes. But yeah, they were using largely recycled scripts from what was supposed to be season 4 of TOS.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It found its footing really well, though.
It found its footing very quickly.
Yeah, I think this one probably can, as long as they focus more on making it more TNG and Voyager and a lot less, because I really liked Voyager too.
Here's the thing.
A lot less TOS, because TOS had some of the clunkier moments, had some of the more critical, like stuff that you can pick apart really easily. Like the allegory stuff, I totally agree with you on that one. So like, this is why I like to throw away, because I find that a lot of the Twitter bot arguments are the ones that are some of the worst arguments about why this is better, because they want to compare it to TOS so much. They want to compare it, and like we knew what was bad from TOS by the time TNG came along. We don't need to keep going back and regressing.
Okay.
And you're right. Let's see.
Okay.
I can't believe this is in the Prime verse. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's clearly not. It's clearly a reboot. It's clearly they went multiverse. And because there's no way after Picard, like when Picard in season 1 shows up and Admiral Hubris is there doing her little sheer effing hubris thing.
Shut the fuck up.
When she's there, that universe that had android robot slaves, that had all that, I can't believe that was our TNG universe that Measure of a Man happened in. That banned Dr. Zimmerman from creating hologram? Or were they? Did they ban him? Did they ban him from that? Because he was like, didn't they basically make all holograms? Wasn't there some big thing about that? I'm forgetting. I'm probably gonna get it wrong now. People are gonna be like, "See, you don't know anything at all."
After Data, I thought they weren't gonna create any more androids.
That was separate. I'm talking about the holograms now. Because so they were using like holograms to scrub toilets and stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would kind of be.
And then there was like an argument, are the holograms actually considered life, or did we just create a slave race of holograms?
Yeah.
It's not the same as the holograms the doctors fought for, the holograms in the mines. I still think that in the same Star Trek universe, they wouldn't have made the slave android robot army that Picard, that they wouldn't have done half of the stuff that launched Picard. That universe is too violent, too dark. 7 of 9 would never murder people, ever. She wouldn't have joined some Fenris Rangers. She would have been there supervising the Borg deconstruction of the ship. She would have been an advisor. She would have been a liaison, just like Milana Torres was a Klingon liaison. She would have been some sort of liaison to the Borg Federation something.
Oh, they wanted to give her a tragic backstory. They wanted to make her a victim of discrimination.
Oh, God. But Ichab wasn't. He was allowed to join Starfleet.
They forgot.
5 episodes in, they could.
But they yanked his eye out.
Yeah, and then they yank his eye out and make it all dark. So yeah, like that universe in Picard and Discovery, I can see all of these universes coming from the same thing. However, I cannot buy this as being in the same timeline because
No.
we already know how, like, the Telosians looked and how
But this looks, at least it looks closer.
it looks cleaner, closer, brighter. The lighting's a lot better.
This is
a lot closer to what Star Trek made now might look like. However,
if you were making TOS now, this is what it would probably look like. I'll give them that.
Mm-hmm.
However, you still should at least try to make it look like from that era.
yeah, just tell me it's multiverse or a reboot. This is why I'm like, I can just write this off as a multiverse. This is an offshoot of what happened in the JJ stuff.
Kurtzman first event dimension.
Yeah, this is just an offshoot of what happened in the JJ verse because, or another dimension there.
They even bring it into STD.
In Discovery they talk about the Nero event.
The divergence in the timeline caused by a Romulan mining ship.
Romulan mining ship. Yeah, Nero's.
So they're admitting it's connected to it's all the same. It's a reboot. So,
and that's kind of my biggest issue with it is that
timeline.
I still have to treat it like it's a reboot. 2, which means I score it completely differently on that scale, which is why I think it's getting I think I'm giving this one a 7, just on the fact that it is as close to in a day and age where we have the Orville and Star Trek, this is still trying to be more the Orville than Star Trek. In some instances, this one had less silly moments. This had less comedy. This had less cringe dialogue. I mean, you have the Helms chick that we've been calling the they themsman. So we have her coming in and having her little quip of like, no need to freak out, buddy, or whatever she says.
She wasn't in this a lot.
No, she had like a line. They are really, really, I have to commend them. They are trying to give the rest of these characters something to do. I like that. That works really well for me for Star Trek because we do feel like it has an ensemble. My issue is that these are still the people from Discovery. It's still literally those people, and it's still literally new people, and it's still supposed to be the Enterprise, but it's not the Enterprise.
It's
This is like,
again, it's a cover band.
it's a cover band in this stupid reboot timeline with all the stuff we already know and all the storylines we've already covered, and this exactly a lot of the problem I had with Enterprise too is that it has so much work to try and tie itself into stuff that we've established in the future happening without spoiling. And that was always my problem with the prequels of Star Wars too, is every time we have a prequel, it feels like there's less places to go and you're just trying to play a game of connect the dots. And unless you do that so well that it was set up in advance, it falls flat every single time. Every single time, somewhere, somehow. So that's what's really still killing it for me. Is it's a prequel. It's in this other timeline. It's connected to Discovery. It's other than that, I mean, if we had a new cast of people and a new era, like this is why I give the Orville such a huge pass, because it's not in Starfleet, because they have different protocols, they have different regulations.
It's like I'm gonna date myself here. Remember when pistachios used to be dyed red?
Yeah.
And you would get all the dye on your hands, and everything you would touch would get that red dye all over it. That's what it's like. Somebody had a big bag of red pistachios, and everything now that they've touched associated with Star has that red dye on it. And there's no getting around it. You stained it permanently. No, I didn't. Look, see it? No, it's still there. No matter how hard you try, you can't get that. You can't get it off.
They can't scrub the Discovery out of the show.
Exactly.
I mean, they're trying their best. This is the best Star Trek that they've given us under the Star Trek brand since
Oh, that's a low bar, though.
Since Enterprise went off the air. It's not as good as Enterprise. But it's, for a less hardcore Star Trek fan, this is your show. I mean, for somebody who's not going to remember every single detail of every single thing, I think a lot of more casual viewers are absolutely going to love this. What do you think?
You know, like I said, I
This is your
understand-
show. If you're one of those, if you're one of those people go, yeah, but I'm a Star Trek fan. Hand me my purse. Yeah, but I'm a Star Trek fan. I try.
On Purse Patrol.
Well, I try and pay attention to the lore a little bit. So.
It's your the batleth, yeah.
Yeah, the bagleth.
Bagleth.
So I
It's
mean,
even got the Klingon the
insignia.
The Klingon embossed.
You didn't notice that the insignia too. You
not.
didn't notice there was a batleth right away, did you?
No, not originally. But that's actually, yeah.
So like, for somebody like me or Rob or even like even me, like I'm like, okay, I can shut part of this out because I really don't have the great love for TOS that a lot of Trek people do. So I think that's how I can score it a little higher. Because like I said, I'm more of a Next Generation fan. But then again, like, how's this going to connect to my TNG and my Voyager and all of my favorite seasons? Because like I said, I'm not going to be able to recite back every single episode of TOS.
Now I just want pistachio nuts.
Now he wants pistachios. I am still croaky. Yeah, I'm coming down or getting over a cold and it's allergy season. So I'm like double congested. It's only when it drains, and it only drains when I talk, and I probably have to stand up and get something to drink here.
So apparently, Illyrians were in the Enterprise. They were in Enterprise.
Oh, the Illyrians were in Enterprise? When?
I don't know. Somebody's
Okay.
screening this.
What episode? Oh, look them up on a Memory Alpha.
Illyrians. Let me see. Licensed to Illyria.
Oh, I like TOS just fine. It's just, it's a harder sit, especially now. It's a much harder sit. Especially like since I'm such my favorites are Babylon 5 and Stargate Atlantis. Those are like my top two. So when I go and watch like TNG, it's like it's a little lower than like my favorites. So when I go in and watch like TOS, it's certainly a little bit lower.
Okay, well this is according to that from this they had the big foreheads.
Oh, that guy. He had a big forehead.
They just changed humanoid. They just changed it to her.
Well, they said they were a humanoid version of them.
Humanoid species native to the planet in the Delphic Expanse. Enterprise episode Damage.
Okay, I don't remember that one. I'll have
Known for
to.
extensive genetic engineering, they viewed as an alternative to terraforming. Yeah, okay. Ghosts, okay, yeah.
So there's still augments, though.
Cranial averages being indistinguishable from humans. Enterprise Damage. Okay, in this episode here. Starfleet vessel Enterprise NX-01 was assisted in its repair efforts by Illyrian starship that had been disabled by anomaly Starfield 2154. Enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of remember in this one.
It's kind.
It must have been in the season with the Zindi. It must have been season 2 or 3. Had to have been season 2 or 3. Because season 1 was pretty decent of Enterprise. I mean, is watchable, and season 4 is pretty watchable.
Okay, so yeah, so that's according to Memory Alpha.
So
right?
we've seen this species already.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a species that has been in, but they've made it a change that she's one of them. Not change, but
They retconned her. All right.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. If you just want kind of Star Trek-y sort of stuff and aren't like the hugest Star Trek fan, or even if you're just kind of like a casual normie, like, oh yeah, I'll watch Star Trek The Next Generation if it's on, and you're not going to be like paying attention to every single episode of every single thing, I think this is fine. You know, I mean, I sat through Enterprise. This is about as good as some of the better Enterprises. So, and Enterprise had like some really, really lows and then some really, really highs. So, I don't know. Started watching DS9 for the first time. It was great. I'm on season 2. Enterprise I never finished. DS9, I like DS9 a lot more too. I liked, I think you're going to find that you're not going to be able to put DS9 down once you really get into it. Once you get into the, ooh, this is getting really good.
The first time, like I said, I just fell out of it and I didn't dislike
Well, you probably didn't watch it in order too. That's the other thing.
I watched it from the premiere.
You gotta watch them in order, because if they screw up the runtime or if you miss an episode, and I can see like how, unless you're there watching it, marathoning it, that's kind of a hard sit.
Yeah.
I love your nitpicking. I try.
My own personal rating for this episode. What are you gonna give it?
I think I went 7 on this one. This is still like the highest I've given.
My own personal rating is I'll give it a 2.5 Chewbacca's. Yeah, and that translates to about maybe 6.5.
6.5, you say?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to sit there and hate it if you can turn off that part of your brain that like goes immediately to, you know, the Spock stuff, like
I like science.
like the season 2 of Discovery. Was it 2 or 3? Was it season 3?
When they won.
When they had Spock, it was season 2.
Season 2.
Yeah, because season 3 they jumped 900 years. Yeah, it was season 2.
They said
they reboot Discovery every half season.
yeah, they rebooted every season. They said no, you're not going to see Spock or Kirk or anybody show up. Then it's season 2. Spock's showing up.
I think in 20 years we're gonna look back and be like, why the hell was I so angry about this? I mean, we still had real Star Trek.
Well, after 5 years, we're still angry.
That's true. We're still bitching about Last Jedi too.
Oh God. Oh God.
Oh, Last Jedi didn't kill Star Wars. It was the toxic reaction to it. Yeah, but we wouldn't have a toxic reaction if there wasn't the Last Jedi.
Yeah. You know, let me tell you that. Like, yeah, there's that guy.
People.
There was that director. He says nobody in Hollywood liked The Last Jedi.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody. He goes. They just all kind of went along with it.
Oh, it's getting warm. They're supposed to fix my air conditioning at some point. Probably never.
Quantum Leap was my introduction to Scott Bakula. I plan to give NBC reboot a try. To be honest, okay.
I haven't heard much about the reboot, really.
Hopefully, 20 years Trek returns.
I wasn't a big Quantum Leap fan, though.
And Retcon's
really didn't like that one.
Trek, yeah.
It was kind of, I don't know. I guess for me, for Quantum Leap, it's like just something never really clicked about it for me. I don't know why. I couldn't even describe it.
I watched it every so often.
Yeah, I watched the first few episodes, and I just like I got a DVD from somebody.
I really wasn't that huge a fan of it.
I just couldn't get it. I don't know if it's Scott Bakula or what. It was like Farscape too. I could just never get into Farscape or Sliders. That was the other one. I could never get into Sliders either.
The idea is interesting. Travels back through time.
Yeah.
Through his ancestors.
Well, it wasn't his ancestors. He was just jumping around randomly, wasn't he?
No, it was his ancestors.
Oh, okay.
Because memories are technically, supposedly is the theory, memories are stored in your DNA. So.
It was weird. 13 days till the Orville season 3. Yes, I'll try to. I am in the middle of trying to get moved out of state, hopefully, if we get approved for anything, or if I get approved for anything. And then Rob's going to be going back to Connecticut, and I'm going the other way. So hopefully, if not, it'll be from the road. It'll be in the car. So I don't know.
You'll be able to get.
Oh, I'll be able to get it no matter where I'm at. But
can you get that site on the phone? Is it?
You probably can. Yeah, you'd have to adblock it.
Yeah, I haven't.
Well, I mean, I'll have my laptop. That's the thing. Like, if I take, so I decided not to transfer my mom's car into my name yet until I get to where I'm going, because I'll have to do it there anyway. Again, I'll have to change the title over again, and even though it's probate and which state, well, we don't know yet.
State of delirium.
We're trying. It once I know more, because then if all goes according to plan, then I will be able to start another additional channel featuring that location specifically. If not, we don't know, but yeah. So I'm gonna try and get him review. I at least want to watch it because it's the Orville. I just hope Seth MacFarlane's BS that he does on Twitter all the time with all this activism crap isn't infesting the show. I mean, he might have to suck up to the freaking Illuminati.
He's a pro. He'll be.
Well, so far he's been a pro. So far. I don't know. I'm just so. I'm stunned that it is not worse than this is. It's like with the potential, with like what they've done in the past, with as bad as Picard was.
Oh my God! It could be
so much worse. So I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't that bad. Like, I gotta find something to rip into it for, just because it's still not great, but it's really not that bad. Like, I can't give it too glowing of a review because it's still not great. It's still, there's something off. It's like accidentally getting served the wrong burger at the fast food place. It's like, oh, they gave you the vegan one accidentally, or the vegetarian one. You know, they gave you the Beyond Meat. And you don't really realize it until you're like 3 bites in, and then once you notice it, you can't notice anything else. And that's really where I am with this one. Once you notice, that's still, you know.
I like science.
That Spock. It's still Ethan Peck's Spock, and you're still coming from Discovery.
This is the power of math, people.
Like I said, it's like that time I ordered a beer and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Turns out it was some sort of weird wheat apricot beer.
Yeah. It's like if
like,
you get the wrong order and you don't
like,
quite know what's off about it.
And I asked, are the taps clean? Is the glass clean? Oh no, like what? And I couldn't figure out. And they finally says, I said, what kind of beer is this? Wheat apricot wheat. I'm like, oh great.
Why didn't you just order beer-flavored beer?
Because they had different taps and I decided to try something different. Let's try that. It's like, that's different. Never had that before. Make beer, they tried putting all kinds of weird fruit in it, like blueberry walnut crunch ale or something stupid like that. Hey, here's we have to experiment with different kinds of flavors to get market share. Here's a way to get market share. Try making beer-flavored beer first, and then when you do that right, you'll get all the market share you could ever want.
You've never had a wrong order at a restaurant, even takeout. How is that possible? How is that possible?
That's, yeah. Taco Bell can't even get the order right.
Yeah. That's weird. Like, I can understand, like, the best way to get it wrong is if, like, you order, like, without or with extra, or if you make substitutions, changes, stuff like that.
Instead of fries, I want onion rings.
Yeah.
No onions. Put cheese on this.
Yeah, can you add cheese, or can you take away the onions or something? So a lot of the time, I'll just pick off what I don't like.
The Real Zeal. How you doing, Real Zeal?
Afternoon, hello. Yeah, I always check. Well, yeah, I try to get him in the habit of checking before he leaves the drive-thru.
Yeah, I've been doing that. And I ask, no onions, and well.
Yeah, and some of them.
They still screw it up.
And they still screw it up. Yeah. They still screw it up.
Thank you, Carl.
Well, it depends on the place too. Like, depending on the burger, sometimes, like, if it's the red onion, I don't mind.
Well,
but if it's like the chopped white onions and they put it with mayo, then I can never tell. And then it'll be like lettuce and tomato and mayo, and then I gotta take all of that off. If it's like a big round onion, like the big old honking onions, then I can just take those off, and I don't mind, because then you get the flavor of it, which isn't terrible without having the raw onion taste.
The Real Zeal just got done with the trial of the century. I'm like,
oh, the trial.
The trial's done right
now. Oh, God, the trial.
They must adjourn for the day.
I saw Ellen Barkin was on the stand for about a minute saying Johnny Depp was always drugging and...
Ellen Barkin.
She got old.
Yeah.
Wasn't she in Buckaroo Banzai?
Yeah.
She was in Buckaroo Banzai.
Ellen Barkin said that she wouldn't go on Letterman for years because she always had a big, huge thing for Letterman.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I always imagined myself, we'd have like kids with like squinty eyes and gaps in their teeth. And he's like, oh, that's kind of nice. Yeah. He's like, hey, look at that right here. So she wouldn't go on Letterman for years because she had a huge thing for him.
Well, she was banging Johnny Depp.
Yeah. How old is she? She's got to be 70.
Ellen Barkin, she's at least in her 60s. She's at least in her 60s.
Oh, they adjourned for the weekend. Okay.
Oh, good. So there's nothing tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow's Saturday.
No, tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
So we'll probably do some sort of fun stream tomorrow night. Yeah. I need to keep packing. Most of my stuff is like to the point where it's like, okay, I just got to throw the few things in a couple more boxes, but most of everything's packed. We just have to find a place.
She is 68.
We just got to find a place. We've applied a lot. We're going to look at one. Maybe. Here, market report. What's this? Market report. Oh, that's nothing. Interesting. I don't care, Zillow. I want to know, are there new things? Cancellation. And that been canceled. Thank you for using our appointment service. Yay. Well, I was actually going to change over Mom's car, but I'm like, wait a minute, it's going to be so much easier to do it there because I got to change it anyway, and I got to deal with their shitty DMV there, probably. I don't know. What else is going on in the trial? I was barely paying attention to it. Cause like for crying out loud, if Johnny Depp thinks that anybody is going to think that he's not just a man picking on a woman at this point, like these jurors are sitting there basically checked out. They're there daydreaming. They're staring at the back of his head or something, or they're playing Candy Crush on their phones, and they're like, you know what though, I mean, she did cry and say that she just wanted to be left alone and wanted to be over, and the Disney chick is like, yeah, we don't know anything about her op-ed when we didn't bring him back for Pirate 6, and the lawyer chick's like, he called me a bitch, he's awful. He's a druggie, and Ellen Barkin's up there going, yeah, he was on drugs the whole time. I don't think the jury is going to side with him personally. Even though, yes, I agree, Amber Heard's a piece of crap. I do agree with that. I don't think he's going to win this one, personally. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and I'll be like, yeah. And, of course, I haven't been watching the whole thing. I just kind of know from the Vic Mignogna stuff. That's just me. But I don't think I personally would put money, if I were a betting person. If I were a gambler, I would play the long shot on this one. My gut says he's gonna lose. My gut says, and that's going from the Vic Mignogna case. That's going from, because remember what the judge said about the Vic Mignogna case. He made it seem like Vic dragged a couple of women into court to bully a couple of women, basically. He was picking on a couple of women. And that's how the jury's going to see Johnny Depp, that he's just picking on some women, or picking on a woman. That he's just dragging his ex-wife through all this stuff because he wants somebody, because he wants to get back at her or something. Yeah, like they could have just parted and said, you know what?
See you later.
And I hate, even though she was the aggressor in a lot, like, we could agree that she was kind of an aggressor in many situations. We could agree that, but I also think that, she was sitting there like, oh, my dream boy, Johnny Depp, and she's there like, and and I can use him to step up my career, and he's so gorgeous, and he's dreamy, and then she gets him, and he's this drugged out, codependent, needy man baby sort of type and I hate using that word because that really triggers guys. So I think that she really, like, her crazy kicked into 10 and 11 when she realized that he wasn't gonna, he was like, he's the type of guy who's like, yeah, you're the center of his world until you're not, and the second you're not, it's miserable. So Still, though, I still don't think that the jury is going to care. That's my gut. However, I haven't seen the whole entire testimony of everybody. I've seen, here's the thing. Whatever you see in the very tail end, they're going to hear the very, very end of it, and they're going to have the societal pressures of needing to believe women. I mean, Vogue, here, let me show you the Vogue article. Vogue.
Come on, Vogue.
Amber. There you go. Vogue. Why it's time to start believing it. Like seriously. Come on, Vogue.
Let's go eat some fried fish. Fried fish. Come on, Vogue. I can go.
Oh, go Vogue yourself, you stumbly old drunk woman.
What the hell happened to Madonna?
What happened to Madonna? There you go. Why it's time to... This is Vogue. This is Vogue's opinion piece. So this is one of the ones she bought with her new PR team, where they got her all sad. Why it's time to believe her. Yeah, I think the jury's not supposed to see this. I think they are seeing this. I think some of them are. This shit is why I think, because remember we were sitting all sitting there watching the OJ thing, and we're like, oh, he clearly did it. Everybody's sitting there watching everything. Same thing with who's the other one?
Bill Cosby.
Well, I don't know who else we were sitting there watching.
You were watching, yeah. It was mostly the OJ. Everybody was fascinated by the guy, the Bang guy.
Oh yeah, but he got off though.
Well,
he was the exception actually. He was the exception because everyone watching Vic's trial was like, yes, but nothing happened here, and Vic was the victim, and which he was. If we were watching the trial, he was. But yeah, and that Umbrella guy also did the Vic Mignogna trial, and look how the Vic Mignogna trial turned out. I'm just saying. Vic Mignogna didn't win his case either, did he?
No.
Did he? So everybody rallying the troops, being men's rights activists all of a sudden. By the way, I'm not one. Everybody rallying the troops, being the men's rights activists. That's great. It's a great cause. I think that Johnny Depp probably slammed around some cabinets, was a drunk piece of crap too, and I think she was probably did more damage physically to him.
Do you mean men's right act? Do you want to reform like divorce laws or custody laws, or do you?
They want to jump on because
permission to be a dick.
I don't know. I'm just saying. So this is why I think he probably will lose. However, I could be wrong. I just need to trust my gut on this one. Even the quartering is saying that. The jury is not sequestered. Well, if they're not sequestered, then they're going to see this type of stuff too. And they're going to be like, oh my God, they're bullying Amber Heard. Look at all these right-wing people saying she's Amber Turd. That's what they're going to say. Like, you know it. Come on. You know it. You know these, like, if you got a jury of Wham in there, sitting there reading Vogue magazine saying, yeah, oh, and all these people, they're all right-wingers who are defending Johnny Depp. Is Johnny Depp right-wing? Is he Republican now? They're going to do it. You know they're going to do it. You just get one activist sort of lady there. And she's going to see, like seriously, if they see any of the Umbrella stuff or the Yellow Flash stuff, they're going to be like, oh, these guys are all the right-wing Rittenhouse people. Oh, Johnny Depp has to be guilty now. Let's hang him. That's what they're going to say. Don't do it for realsies. I'm mocking the crazy people in the jury. Was the Vic case the same circumstance? They accused him of sexual misconduct or something, and they waited years after the fact, and they stalked him and got him fired and had him lose a lot of jobs, and he lost it. Oh, I know you guys. This is wishful thinking, though. I think you guys are misunderstanding how other people see this. Like you gotta understand, the rest of the world still sees this side of the internet that we're all kind of sitting on here as, oh, they're just a bunch of right-wing, alt-right extremist, nutjob white supremacists. They're still gonna see that. So if the jury sees any of this, they're gonna see it aggregated for their Twitter feeds. They're gonna see that. I mean, they'll check their Twitter once, and they're gonna see, especially if they're on the left, they're gonna see that. So hopefully you guys don't think that me being skeptical of him winning is in any way defending this bitch. No, we're not defending this bitch. We're not defending her. I really want to make that clear. I'm not defending her. I just don't think that your random jury people. Because remember, they're the ones who are going to count. I mean, I don't know exactly who's on this jury. Do we know specifically what type of people are on this jury? Because if you have one woman in there who's sitting there, who sees and knows anything about any of this stuff online, they're going to... Anyway, that's just my view on it. I might be wrong. Let's face it. I haven't seen everything, and I can admit that. But that's my view on it. So... Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to probably leave this up once the bots scan it, because I'm sure it's age restricted now, or not age restricted, but what happened?
Nothing, I just got that.
You got a granola bar?
Yeah.
All right.
I won't open out of here.
We will see you on the next video. I'm getting hungry myself, actually. I'm probably going to eat lunch. We'll see you on the next video, live stream. We'll probably do some sort of game stream tonight. I don't know what. I might pick up House Flipper for pets, maybe.
Pet Flipper.
Unless Rob wants to buy me Pet Flipper. I have it in my Steam wish list. House Flipper for petsies. He has little to no real chance of winning because the burden of proof falls on him and it's very hard to prove. That too. So I'm not saying that. I'm not defending her, by the way.
He's the plaintiff. He's the plaintiff.
Yeah, he's the plaintiff.
Okay, yeah. So the burden of proof is on the plaintiff.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe some Pokemon. I don't know. Is it still... Oh, yeah, I still left it out.
Hunt Mons.
Maybe. I might play a game I already have. We'll see how much it cools off tonight. It might be too warm, but we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.